Hey there, welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the intriguing world of the Four Horsemen. So when you hear the Four Horsemen, what pops into your head? For a lot of folks, it brings to mind those dramatic world-ending scenes straight out of religious texts, right? But here's the cool part. This metaphor has been embraced in all sorts of fields, describing destructive forces from theology to psychology. Think about it. These concepts help us understand everything from personal conflicts to societal disasters. Understanding where this term comes from and how it's used can really open our eyes to how we deal with conflict and chaos in our lives, you know? It's fascinating to see how these four figures, conquest, war, famine, and death, aren't just biblical symbols, but also pop up in psychology and even pop culture. They really capture the everyday struggles we all deal with, right? From our personal relationships to those big societal issues. It's all so relatable. Ready to explore the wild world of the Four Horsemen? We'll trace their journey from ancient texts all the way to how they connect with us today. It's going to be a fun ride. The term Four Horsemen most famously originates from the final book of the New Testament, the book of Revelation. In this apocalyptic vision, four powerful figures appear on different colored horses to usher in the Last Judgment. These riders are widely seen as harbingers of conquest, war, famine, and death, representing the cataclysmic events that will precede the end of the world. This vivid and potent imagery has cemented the phrase in our collective consciousness as a symbol of impending doom and destruction. Over the centuries, this metaphor has proven remarkably versatile, being adapted to describe other powerful and often negative quartets. For instance, in the early 21st century, the term Four Horsemen was colloquially applied to the leading figures of the new atheism movement: Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris, and Daniel Dennett. Their collective, forceful arguments against religion were seen by some as a formidable assault on traditional belief systems. However, one of the most influential modern adaptations comes from the world of psychology. Dr. John Gottman, a world-renowned researcher on marital stability, identified four specific communication patterns that he found to be so destructive to a partnership that they could accurately predict divorce. He named these patterns the Four Horsemen of relationship communication: criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. Just as the biblical horsemen signaled the apocalypse, Gottman argued that the consistent presence of these four behaviors in a relationship signals its potential collapse. This psychological framework has become a cornerstone of couples therapy, offering a clear diagnostic tool for identifying and addressing toxic communication before it irreparably damages the bond between partners. By giving a name to these destructive habits, Dr. Gottman provided a powerful way for couples to recognize and work towards healthier, more productive ways of interacting. Let's first turn our attention back to the original source of this powerful metaphor: the biblical Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, as described in Revelation 6:1-8. Each horseman is summoned by the breaking of one of the first four of the seven seals, unleashing a specific plague upon the earth. The first of these figures, riding a white horse, is perhaps the most debated among theologians and scholars. This horseman holds a bow and is given a crown, going forth, conquering and to conquer. One common interpretation sees this figure as a symbol of conquest, representing the relentless drive for domination and empire building that often precedes widespread conflict. In this view, the white horseman embodies imperial aggression and the subjugation of peoples. Another popular interpretation, particularly in historical and modern contexts, links this horseman to pestilence.
The arrows from his bow are seen not as weapons of war, but as carriers of infectious disease, spreading plague and sickness across the land. This interpretation gained significant traction over time, as pandemics have been a recurring and devastating force throughout human history. The ambiguity of the original text allows for both meanings, painting a picture of a powerful, disruptive force that destabilizes the world and sets the stage for the horrors to come.
Following the rider on the white horse, the breaking of the second seal unleashes the second horseman, who appears on a fiery red horse. The symbolism here is far more direct and universally understood. This horseman is explicitly granted to take peace from the earth. The red horseman is the embodiment of war. The color of his steed evokes images of fire, anger, and bloodshed, leaving no doubt as to his purpose. He represents not just organized warfare between nations, but also civil strife, violence, and the complete breakdown of social order. His great sword is a symbol of his authority and power to incite conflict and slaughter on a massive scale. This horseman's arrival signifies a time when harmony is shattered. He is the personification of armed conflict and its devastating consequences. Unlike the first horseman, whose mission is open to some interpretation, as the apocalyptic narrative continues, the third seal is broken. This rider holds a pair of scales in his hand, and a voice is heard declaring the exorbitant cost of basic foodstuffs, a measure of wheat for a penny. This horseman represents famine. The black color of his horse is often associated with mourning and despair, fitting for the suffering he brings. The scales he carries are a symbol of commerce and the rationing of food, illustrating a period of extreme scarcity where staple grains become astronomically expensive and available only in tiny quantities. The command not to harm the oil and the wine suggests that these items, considered luxuries, remain untouched, highlighting a stark social and economic imbalance where the wealthy can still afford comforts while the poor starve. This detail adds a layer of social commentary to the vision, pointing to the injustice that often accompanies widespread hunger. The third horseman thus personifies the grim reality of starvation, economic collapse, and the desperate struggle for survival that follows in the wake of war and societal breakdown. The climax of this terrifying procession arrives with the breaking of the fourth seal. The fourth and final horseman rides upon a pale horse, a sickly corpse-like color, often translated as ashen green or chloros in the original Greek, the color of decay. This horseman is the only one explicitly named in the text. His name is Death. He is not alone. The scripture states that hell followed with him. This chilling image portrays death as a sovereign entity with the power to claim lives through the combined plagues brought by the preceding horsemen and more. He is given authority over a fourth part of the earth to kill with sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth. This passage confirms that death is the ultimate and all-encompassing consequence, the culmination of the conquest, war, and famine that came before him. He is the final, inescapable reality, reaping the harvest of destruction sown by his fellows. The image of hell following in his wake underscores the finality and spiritual damnation associated with this apocalyptic end. This horseman represents the absolute cessation of life, the grim specter that haunts all of humanity, and the ultimate end brought by this cataclysmic series of events. The metaphor of the Four Horsemen is fascinating, right? It stretches from a biblical prophecy about the end times to a handy tool for understanding our relationships today. At its heart, it's all about how certain destructive forces can signal a big collapse coming our way. Think about it. Whether we're talking about those apocalyptic riders representing conquest, war, famine, and death, or the communication styles like criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling that can tear a partnership apart. These horsemen are like a big red flag. They're a powerful reminder to pay attention. These are the red flags we can't ignore. They really push us to recognize and tackle those harmful patterns before they spiral into a total breakdown. Understanding these different horsemen is like having a special radar for spotting trouble, whether it's threatening entire societies or just our closest relationships. Think about it. If we notice criticism creeping in or defensiveness bubbling up, we can take action right away. By catching these warning signs early, we can create solutions that foster harmony, support, and genuine connections. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. If you enjoyed this chat, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more.